Welcome back to the Grassroots to Glory podcast, the only football podcast that you get a different damn intro every single time because you know, what's keeping it normal, right? Um do I even need to introduce you anymore? Are we still at the point where we're like, oh, hey guys, this is my co-host, or would you like me to
Probably
introduce
not,
you?
but yeah, I mean, your intros, who God knows who's getting
Mate,
introduced.
I mean, you remember a little backstory. We used to do a gaming podcast. What was it, 2021? Maybe even
It
that
was
far
during
ago?
COVID. We started it because we were bored
Yeah.
in lockdown, basically.
Yeah. And the intros just got more and more deranged as time went on.
Yeah, we just started insulting each other by the end of it. Like,
Yeah, it's and I feel like this is we're now episode 7, which is exciting.
it
So
is.
and we're still going. We're still chatting about football, and unfortunately, there's not been much of a gap since last recording. So you'll be hearing this next Thursday. So episode 6 has just gone up.
Yeah,
We're
week
just
on
recording that.
Thursday. Yeah,
But unfortunately, there's not too much to talk about because this one's going away, as we said in the last episode. So we're trying to get ahead of things. But you know, it's there's always something to talk about in football, right? So um, I would say,
yeah,
what have you been doing this week? But
yeah.
what
Nothing
have you done in
really.
the last 2 days?
Absolutely nothing. There's not really been anything going on
No.
internationals and whatnot. I
Yeah.
did like have a bit of the England Latvia game on after we
Hmm.
finished recording Tuesday.
Yep.
Obviously, yeah, just as you'd expect, very one sided. England dominated.
It was.
So happy days, I guess.
It was strange to put out a full sort of. I want to say strength squad. It seemed a bit strange to me,
He
and I
was
don't know.
very strong.
You
Yeah.
know, and there's no disrespect to Latvia, but obviously they're not. You know, the best international team in the world. So it was surprising, and I wonder if it's maybe Tuchel trying to figure out who his best squad is. Maybe still, although you would argue he should already know it by now because the World Cup will be on top of us before you know it, sort of thing. So um, yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting choice.
Yeah.
Um,
Went very strong. But we got the win
win to win.
5-0. That's what matters. Kept a clean sheet.
Yeah,
I don't think we've conceded in qualifiers yet, so all good. I
yeah,
know we haven't got the hardest group, but still, it's a move in the right direction.
yeah.
Just how
Fingers
we do
crossed.
against big teams next is the next test, but
Yeah, no,
we're not going to
absolutely.
know until the World
No,
Cup now.
no, exactly. And we just have to see if Tuchel gets it right. But
Yeah, but yeah, obviously speaking of England, the main kind of thing we were going to talk about today is kind of crafting who we think is the best England 11. Sort of going into the World Cup is how I've done it.
yeah,
But before that, there was one piece of little news. It's not really news; it's just a little statement that did come out. I literally just saw it before we hit record. Middlesbrough have announced for their 150th anniversary, they do have a new badge. If anybody wants to go look at it, it's terrible. It's worse than the one they already have. Um, a lot of clubs are doing this, where you're seeing anniversary badges, and they all end up being worse than
uh-huh.
the existing one. It's basically just a circle with Middlesbrough Football Club written in it and a lion. That's about it.
And do you know what the worst part is? They probably paid someone a lot of money to design it.
Oh yeah, that, genuinely, like either that or it would have been like fan submissions, but
Well,
it's
you hope so, right?
just not good. According to an article I read about it, that there is a subtle like T-side little nod there. I don't know. Obviously, we're from the opposite end of the country, so I couldn't tell you, but
Hmm.
it don't look good. I don't like it. The one that they have now, the crest, is better.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can't, speaking from a team who have changed their badge before, I'm not always a huge fan of it. I just if it's updated slightly but still got the original feel, I'm fine with that. But it's when they change it completely, or just make it worse. You just think, well, why?
Yeah, that happened with you lot. To be fair, your new
Yeah,
badge
I prefer
stinks
our old
compared to
one.
the old one.
I don't like the new one. I've openly said that. I much prefer the older one. It looks better, but I mean,
I remember like every single team when they get a new badge, they're all just circles now. Like I remember when Chelmsford did it,
Boring.
there used to be the Chelmsford crest, which
Mm,
obviously if you're from here, you'll know what it looks like.
mm.
And then they changed it, and now it's just a circle with a badge in it. And it just, I don't know, I don't like it. Every club's doing it. They're just turning the badges just as a circle with writing and then a logo in the middle. Seems
Yeah,
to be what everyone's doing.
it's a
Don't
bit dumb.
like it, but
Um,
there you
before
go.
we do get into the England 11, I
Hmm.
now just as a preface to anyone that listens, Ben does the prep for the podcast, so it's very, very rare that I come up with lists, but I don't tend to come with a discussion topic that involves news. But I actually have something I quickly want to talk about. That I'm
Bloody
just
hell.
interested to know your thoughts because I have my
Okay.
own. So it was reported yesterday that the Premier League clubs are due to meet to discuss caps on wages. I'm not sure. So it's the top flight clubs are set to vote on anchoring, which limits the amount of money any side can spend based off their revenue and prize money. So this is including wage caps. Now,
Okay.
interestingly, obviously you got people against it and people for it. I get both sides of the argument. One of the arguments against is I've seen it will make the league less exciting to come to, meaning that all the top players would probably rather go to the other leagues such as La Liga, Serie A, where these caps aren't in place and they can offer them extortionate wages. The plus side, you can also see that lower teams will now potentially be able to compete with teams such as City, Liverpool, Man United that are able to offer these high wage contracts.
Yep.
Teams such as Wolves, Sunderland, etc., will be able to, there's not the gap anymore. For example, I think Haaland's on something like 350k a week or whatever it is. That wouldn't be a factor anymore because theoretically we wouldn't be able to offer him that money anymore. So, yeah, I'm just I saw it yesterday. Again, I'm not a financial man. I don't know too much. I just know that it's on the horizon. Interested to see what your opinion is.
Yeah, there are a few actually. So the first question is, how does that work with players with existing contracts? Do they have
That's
to take a
exactly right.
drop?
I have no
Um,
idea.
for
That would
example,
be curious to know.
so that would be one. Another would be, you said it was obviously based on revenue
Hmm.
already, so nothing changes then. All the
Yeah,
big teams are still going to have, so nothing actually changes in principle.
theoretically, right? Yeah,
Yeah, like you're still going to have the biggest revenue teams, which are the top six teams, well, not position wise, like the big six,
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
still going to be
Able to offer
able
these huge
to,
contracts.
yeah.
Yeah, of
So
course.
nothing actually changes. It just kind of tries to limit it a little bit. So one thing I do like about it is I'm a big fan. Little background to me outside of like our football. I'm a big American sports fan. I like hockey, American football, basketball, baseball. I like them all. New York sports fan, which I'm pretty sure is a fate worse than death, but it's terrible. But they all have the system of salary caps in all of their sports. Every team has a salary cap, which obviously in theory makes it so that it's a lot more competitive. Different teams win it, and you do see that to an extent. You do get the odds like we have in American football right now, where you get like a dynasty that's just really good for years on end.
Yeah,
But the overall, like you will have more winners, for example, of like a Super Bowl over the course of its history than probably would with like a Premier League, just because it
yeah,
is so money skewed.
yeah.
So I like that aspect of it. I just don't. It needs to be implemented right, and I would question how that's going to work with players on existing contracts,
Hmm.
and whether or not like actual transfer fees are going to be taken into account
That's a good point.
at all, or if it is
Yeah,
purely just salary.
yeah. I mean, I think I sort of when you mentioned, players on current contracts, the only way I can see it happening is if clubs are then paid a compensation package of some description because obviously they promised these players money. If they're not allowed to pay them that money, then someone has to fork the bill, right? Um, because it's a signed legal contract. and correct me if I'm wrong, normally contracts will have some sort of either a break clause, or if it's broken, you get sued to oblivion, right? So I'm guessing somewhere along the line, if they say we can't pay Haaland 350k a week and have to pay him 100k a week, so that's the cap, who's forking up the 250k a week that he has signed for the next 10 years on? So, and if I was being really unsensible and conspiracy theorist esque, it seems strange that this has come out when we're potentially going to hear news on the 115, 130 charges very, very soon. So, I mean,
Would it
it's
not be, rather than you have 100k a week, let's say, per player, would it not just be a massive a team cap? So
I
Haaland could
see.
still be
Yeah,
on, like, that's how it works in like the American
I
sports. Is
see.
the
Yeah,
team
yeah.
has a cap? Let's just say,
You
for
get given a
example,
budget.
yeah, it could be like 200 mil, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah,
and then if Haaland is on 350 and stays on that, that's fine as long as the other players
everyone.
don't go
I'm with you.
over. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so
No, that's not actually a bad shout. To be fair,
that's,
like,
I think, a better way of doing it. Now, in like American sports, generally, most of the team salary caps are even.
right.
But obviously, if it's based on revenue, that's not going to be the case. So you're still going to have a bit of skew. But I think that's the best way of doing it if they are going to do it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it because at least
Yeah, I
it would
like
be
it.
fair. It just depends on how they actually end up judging the how much each team can spend, because like you said, if it's based on revenue, it's pointless.
Yeah, based on revenue,
No.
nothing changes. Ultimately, it's still going to be the same as it is
Yeah.
now. But yeah, overall, I do quite like the idea. It just needs to be implemented right, and I think genuinely, like, take a page out of American sports
Yeah.
for that. And that's something that if people want more information, I've watched American sports for years, and I'm active in those fields, so I do like relatively know how it all works and whatnot. But yeah, I like the system. I just think they need to implement it. 100% needs to be a team cap, not like
Yeah.
individual. You can only have 100k per player because ultimately you're just going to lose
Absolutely. You're
everybody
not.
if
You're
you're a
not going to
big
have the
team.
superstars, are you?
Because
Because
no, 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 and ultimately then the Premier League could probably lose money because less
yeah,
viewers if you haven't got like all these superstars in
yeah,
the league. So bit of a double-edged sword, but ultimately I do
yeah.
like
Fair
it.
enough. That was just an interesting thing I'd seen, and I thought I'd bring it up. And yeah, I mean, it was. We'll see. We'll see. So
Yeah. So yeah, obviously that's a piece of interest. I did
mm,
briefly see it, but I didn't read too much into it. But yeah, certainly we'll be keeping an eye on that as it kind of
yeah.
goes forward. So yeah, but on to obviously the kind of main topic. We're in international break. I don't even know when
Boring.
England are next playing. If we are, I don't
This
even think
week.
we are. To be
No,
honest, I
back
think
to
it's,
Premier League
yeah,
this
it's
week.
Prem again, isn't it? So um, yeah, basically, it's just going to be the kind of rules of the road for what we've set. Are we have tasked ourselves with creating what we believe is England's strongest starting 11 to how I've done it anyway. There's not really any sort of rules, strict rules to it. It's I've done it where I'm manager going into the World Cup. Who is my starting 11? We're not going to go like the entire squad. It's just starting 11 and a few bench players that I've noted down that I think are the strongest 11, and plus some players that could have been in there but didn't
Yep.
make it for whatever reason. So I've done it in a 4-2-3-1. I didn't really give myself any rules on like sticking to a formation. You can do whichever formation you like, whatever you feel best suits what team you've
Hmm.
created. Injuries I haven't taken into account because obviously the World Cup's in June. We don't know who's going to be fit, so I haven't necessarily done it on like current form as of today because again the World Cup's in June. I've done it on a mixture, so a little bit of kind of form is in there, but it's mainly just overall
Hmm.
quality for me. So I think let's just get
Yeah.
started. So I've done it, like I said, 4-2-3-1, and we'll just go position by position, give you our players, and see what we differ on, and we can go from there. So I'll let you start with your goalkeeper.
Ooh, okay. So I am low-key winging it a bit because I struggle a little bit with. I've had this conversation so many times about England players. There are a few nailed-on positions for me. I think
Yeah,
keeper is one of them. I think it's Jordan
Yeah,
Pickford, right? It's got to be.
yeah,
I mean,
100%.
in credit, shout out to Dean Henderson. I think he's been incredible for Palace. I just don't think he's quite England number one. And I think it's also unfortunate for James Trafford because we bought him. He wanted to be England number one, and then he gets replaced by Donnarumma after 2 weeks. So yeah, it's got to be Pickford, isn't it, all day?
Yeah, Pickford, obviously, he's very reliable,
Never let us down.
both for Everton and England. No, he's never really put a foot wrong. He's tournament experienced. He's composed under pressure.
Passionate. You
Often,
see him shouting at people
yeah,
all the
very
time.
passionate. He goes mental. He's always like shouting at
Yeah,
defence if something's getting a bit too
yeah,
chaotic. He's just someone that you want
absolutely.
in your goal, really controlling your back line. I don't think he's really ever put a foot wrong. He's never been at fault for a loss
He's good on
anyway.
penalties as well,
I can't.
which
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember obviously
mm,
Euro 20 whatever it was, 2020 maybe when we lost to Italy in the final. He still saved two penalties in that
yeah,
shootout. It was just Donnarumma
yeah.
did the same and someone hit post. So is what it is. But yeah, Pickford, I think he's just he kind of anchors the defense and allows your centre backs to kind of step
Mhm.
further up because he just
You
gives you that
trust him,
kind of
don't
reliability.
you? You
So
know, you sort of
yeah, yeah,
know. I mean, that he's a shot stopper. He's not fancy with his feet or anything like that. He's just a shot stopper. So he's still good with his
yeah.
feet, but you trust him. If he's in a 1v1, you can comfortably rely he's probably going to get something on it. So
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So yeah, agreement in that. Any sort of backups, I'll go through kind of at
mhm.
the end once we've done our starting 11. But who have you got for right back?
This one's hard because I feel like, well, it's not now I think of it because if we're not doing injuries, it's Reece James. I
Okay.
was going to go Carl Walker just because
Ooh.
he's been England's right back for as long as I can remember. But
Yeah,
I'm not being funny now. Bro's washed. So um, it's a fit Reece James, and I don't tend to
yeah,
subscribe to this, but a fit Reece James is probably one of the best right backs in the world. I do really believe that. But the problem is he's never fit. And I look at England's right backs, I'm not really sure who else you would put in that position that's better than him. I don't think he'll be our right back because he's never bloody fit. um,
yeah.
but what maybe uh, Livramento maybe again injured.
Maybe.
So yeah, I'll stick with
Yeah.
James.
I don't think he's got the quality, but yeah, yeah. I've always kind of sung Reece James's praises. I have done on a few times in this podcast, where I just really like him. Very consistent. I very nearly put him in, but then I remembered
Mm.
someone, and people I think have forgotten about him a little bit because he's not viewable if you watch Prem
You're go.
anymore.
You're. Oh,
But
I
it's
knew
Trent
you were going to say that.
Alexander-Arnold. I think he's the best quality right back we've
Mm.
got in terms of just sheer quality. I think he's better than Reece James as a player. I think his as England, right? You are on paper, you are a top five team in the
Yeah,
world most years. You can afford to be offensive. I know there's questions on his defensive ability, but I think you can afford to be more offensive with a solid centre back partnership, someone reliable in goal. I think you need to be
I,
offensive, and that is the one change I would make
the
tactically.
only caveat, I guess, it depends on what sort of system you would play because, like you said, if you're going to play three at the back, you could probably get away with Trent. I would say, but if you're going to play a four or even a five, maybe you could probably get away with a five. But if you're going to play a four, it's no. Because for me, you said it yourself. Trent's defending abilities as question marks.
Yeah,
Um,
they
Offensively,
definitely. I
absolutely.
think.
I think,
Oh
but
God, yeah, yeah,
the only thing is when we get to the midfield, we have enough creativity that we could potentially put in the midfield and not waste it on a spot at right back. You know,
possibly. I just think. you look at Brazil of old.
Yeah,
They had very offensive wing backs, and they were the best teams of their era. I think England on paper has the capability to
yeah.
be that. I think we just don't use it, and I don't think there is anyone better for that. He provides width, attacking creativity. He's versatile, so you can play him in midfield if you need to as well. Obviously, set piece specialist kind of takes that spot from Trippier, who's
But,
been doing it.
I
Um,
always say of Trent, he's unfortunate because he's good at a multitude of things, but not good enough to hold down a certain position. So when I say that, if you put him in midfield, he's not a very good midfielder because he doesn't scan. He's not the best defender, um, and he just doesn't fit the midfield profile. But he has the ability to be able to be on the ball, run at defenders, technically amazing. Free kicks, even goal scoring, right? But then you put him at right back, and his defensive is a bit which is what you need from a defender, right? You look at, I don't want to keep bringing it back to the Prem, but you look at how Liverpool have been defending with Kirkes and Frimpong. It hasn't been working very well because they're both really attacking. Sometimes it just
yeah,
gets exposed,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
think that's my
definitely
only
does.
argument against it. I don't hate it, but I just think you need someone a bit more.
I think I think for me is, and obviously this is something, but for a team like England in the World Cup, 90% of your games you should be winning
Yeah, on
anyway.
paper, yeah, yeah,
Realistically,
definitely.
I think you can get away with
Yeah,
it
fair.
and if you do end up playing like a France or whatever later on, then maybe you chuck like Reece James is a bit more
Yeah,
reliable going back. But plus, we saw Trent in midfield in the latest Euros for a couple of games, and there were some of the things he was doing was just absolutely tearing apart defenses and the passes he was
but it was
making. So
also
I
the
think he's more than
opposition we
capable.
were against. I mean, I don't remember the games, but I think I remember them being like,
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. We weren't
if you
playing
played
like
Trent in the
Italy and
midfield against France, you're gonna get battered.
oh yeah, your midfield's going to get run ragged, but it's. I think for most of the games that we're going to be playing, I think you can get
It's
away with it.
brave.
But
I like it.
yeah, that's for
I
me.
like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. And that's what I'd
Yeah,
want to be. If I was England manager, you have to be. That's how most teams do win. Look at Spain, heavy passing style. They're very aggressive with passing and they're brave on
well,
the ball. It's a lot of their players will run at players and I mean look at like Nico Williams in the last Euro. Just he was not afraid to run at
yeah,
anybody, and England lack that. And they have done tactically for a long time. So someone like him who can just play aggressive, it's just
yeah,
my
fair,
preference.
fair enough. Yeah,
But yeah, moving on to centre backs, we'll do them as a partnership. We might as well. Who have you got?
I think for me, fit it's gonna be Gahey and John Stones. I think
Yeah,
Gahey proven time and time again now, especially he steps up. Very, very good player. Incredible for Palace. Um, Even incredible for England in the outings that he's been. I think in the Euro, he didn't really step foot wrong at all in the games that he played. Other
no,
than
not
I think
really.
one mistake, he stepped forward and the ball went over him and they scored. I can't remember what game that was, but he's solid. And for me, John Stones, in my opinion, has been one of the best ball playing defenders we've seen in a very, very long time when he's fit. Um, you know, was pivotal for City when we won the treble, even played as a DM, so yeah, I think as a pairing, they work. There was and people are not going to like this, but there was a small shout out for Maguire because England Maguire,
No
for
chance.
me, is different gravy. I really like him. I think he's really, really good for England. He doesn't get into the squad, but I think people
No.
slate him way too much. He's always been a scapegoat for everything. Um, you know,
Yeah, I think he's reliable. I think it's just quality wise. I think there's maybe four
of
or five
course,
that get in
yeah,
over him
but
centre
yeah,
back
my
wise.
pairing, I'm sticking with Gahey and Stones.
Yeah, I've got the same here. I almost didn't put Stones in favour of someone a bit younger. I'm quite big on like young
Well,
players
pause.
in, which is again
No, I'm
right.
joking. No, go
Well, which is why I was about to throw hands for a minute. So which is why like I've got Trent over, someone like a Carl Walker or
Yeah,
whatever. I like the sort of younger, but I needed a bit of experience in there outside of Pickford. So Mark Gahey and John Stones. Oh, yeah, as you said, John Stones, obviously, probably, I think, in the Prem for quite a while. He's definitely up there for ball playing centre backs. Can also step into midfield as well, like
yeah,
you said. Plays well in a high defensive line, especially partnered with Gahey, who's more athletic and sort of a bit more disciplined in
yeah.
positioning. I think you're less likely to get caught from behind.
It's
And
quite quick,
obviously, he plays from the back. Yeah, he's surprisingly quick for how tall he is. He's not. I think Chalobah's a slightly taller as
Caliber's
a
a
centre
shout.
back. If you wanted someone who's
Yeah,
just really tall, I was
yeah.
contemplating Chalobah, but I don't think he's performed for
No,
long
I
enough
agree with that.
at a really high level for him to be put in. You probably could. I don't think I have, but you probably could have him on the bench. I do have him, but yeah, we'll discuss that later. If you like, but yeah, that's the partnership. Same reasons you said, really. I think they're the best partnership we have. So gives you a bit of experience as well. Stones has played at a few
Yeah,
tournaments.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, what about left back?
I,
I'd be interested
I
for this one.
struggled because
Yeah, I did
left
as well.
back, the last sort of out and out left back I can remember from England really would have been Ben Chilwell, right? Um, oh
Sure,
yeah,
probably.
obviously, yeah. Sorry, I always forget he's even a player because the bro's just yeah,
Injury,
he's
walking hospital
he's
bed. So
I think he's got a ward named after him. Bless him. I went a bit biased because I love him.
Rico
No,
Lewis.
absolutely not.
Oh, I was
Not
gonna
a
say
chance. Um, I don't rate Rico Lewis, and City fans will get on to me
no.
about that. But he's not
Shocking,
shocking. He's not. I mean, this isn't a Rico Lewis,
shocking.
but he's just not. He hasn't got the stature to be a defender. He's about 3 foot tall
No,
and not strong.
he is very
So
short.
anyway,
Yeah,
this isn't a Rico Lewis hate train. But I I went with Nico O'Reilly because I've been watching him. He's been playing for us at left back quite frequently as of recent. It's actually to the point where we've pushed Gvardiol into centre back, which is where he should be in the first place. He recently got his first call up, which is amazing. Really tall, really strong, and he's shown a lot of promise. And I think he can go into midfield. Sometimes he even, he's quite good on the ball, can take shots, but very, very solid defensively as well, which I think is what we sometimes struggle with fullbacks. So I think
yeah.
that's it. There was a discussion in my head, and I will be honest. The reason why I didn't go for him is because I don't like him. Is Miles Lewis Skelly? Um, I didn't go for him because I don't like him. um, uh,
That's a bit outrageous, but
I don't, I'm not.
yes,
I'm not even gonna lie. I don't like him. I,
I think
you know,
that's
the,
something.
people gassing him last season, and now he can't even get in the team. So poor boy. But um, yeah,
Not to know. He's played 5 of 7
he's
games.
rubbish, mate. Not interested.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I've got Lewis Skelly. I think
I think
you
left
know
back's our
best
weakest
young left back we got.
position.
Yeah, because I couldn't put Shaw or Chilwell in because I just don't not
Any shout out for
consistent
Dan
enough for
Burn?
me. I looked at him for centre back, but potentially, but not for left back. I think you need
I mean,
pace, and he's
he
just
plays
big
left
boy.
back sometimes for Newcastle.
Yeah,
So what he did for last season, didn't
yeah. Just
he?
I just don't
No,
like
I'm not a
it.
huge
I,
fan.
I just don't.
He's about 6'7" running down the
I
wing. I'm all right, mate.
yeah, I would much rather if you're going to do that as a partner to Gay, who I think Gay is the nailed on starter, like centre back, and then I think you can kind of change
Yeah,
his partner based on the game
yeah.
you're in. But I just couldn't do it over the others. But yeah, I've got Lewis Skelly. I think he's the best young left back we have. Who again, I like the youth. He's also defensively sound as well. He's a lot more defensively disciplined than someone like a Trent potentially, and I think it balances out Trent's attacking kind of mentality a bit as well. But also for that, I'll get when we talk about the midfield, I'll talk more
I'm
about kind of
scared about
why
your
Trent's
midfield.
there. But To be fair, it's not actually. You'll see when I mention it. But Lewis Skelly, he's good at maintaining structure within a team. He's very good at positioning, and I think he complements the wide attacking players. He can get forward. I don't think it's necessarily the strength of his game, but he's young, energetic, and looks really promising. So for me, he was he like left back. I struggled until I remembered
Mm.
about him. And then for me, it was kind of nailed on that I couldn't really think of anyone else. Certainly not
Wow.
O'Reilly.
Yep.
It's a pick,
That ain't even that
but
bad of a shout, mate. It really ain't. You're disrespecting him here.
I still reckon I would take Chilwell. Sure,
No,
maybe
get
Levi Colwill,
no.
Lewis Hall. I
Lewis
think
Hall,
I would
maybe.
take these over.
I'll concede Lewis Hall. I sort of forgot about him because he's been injured, hasn't he? But definitely not Chilwell. No, absolutely not.
What about Colwill?
Cole plays on the right, does he not?
I think just both.
Wait, Levi Cole? Maybe, maybe,
Have a look.
maybe he doesn't play on the right.
Plays centre back and left
Okay.
back
I
where
don't
he's
hate it,
most commonly
but
played.
definitely not Chilwell. Absolutely not.
Yeah, Chilwell maybe not, but if he can stay fit, I do think he's a better player. But it's just it's a bit
I mean, just
risky.
on the note of the youth, it's promising though because we're sitting here arguing, saying this player, this player, this player. All the
Yeah,
players
yeah,
that we've just
exactly.
mentioned are like
All future.
young, 20, 19, 21, 22.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Lewis Skelly 19, O'Reilly what
yeah.
20 now,
You think
so very
we're
young.
safe, hopefully, in the future.
Yeah, you'd hope
You know,
so, but you never know with this lot. But yeah, so midfield. I guess midfield depends how you've
Mm,
done it. I've gone kind of like a kind of two pivot and then a
okay.
cam. Um, but it depends how you've done it, how you want to talk about it. So I'll let you kind of go through some of your midfield. I'll leave the cam for
I
afterwards,
sort
but
of.
if you want to talk about any
It's
midfielders,
hard because I don't really know what our best position is, and also, like, if you're playing with like a DM, for example, do you really? Although he's a great player, but you think players like Adam Wharton, would you know, trust him as that sort of pivotal defender? That protects the back line and whatever else. Because I feel like if you could play Rice there, but it's a waste to play him as a DM. I mean, you remember a few years back, it'd be Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, and Phillips would be the one sitting
yeah,
deeper, and it worked, didn't it? That was amazing, brilliant. But now, I mean, who do you really? I think a spot on for me will be Declan Rice. I
yeah.
think he's got to be in there, no matter what. And that's where this is where I struggle because
Okay, mine was pretty straightforward. I felt.
I like a balance, and I struggled with the defensive part. But then,
Yeah, I see. I found that one quite simple.
okay, if I'm just
Might just be different
yeah,
mindset.
see, okay, all right, we'll go with, and it doesn't really matter position wise, but the three I'm gonna say, and I'm probably gonna miss out some players here, and I have some interesting opinions on one of these players. Um, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, and Adam Wharton. I think. Although I said I don't think he is the best for it, I just can't. I'm probably really missing someone, and it's going to bug me. But I think they're the three that I would go with. Not sure position
Okay,
wise,
yeah.
but I feel like that's a very very good midfield.
Yeah, it is very strong. And I'll tell you what, I've got the
Have you
exact
really?
same.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah, Adam Wharton, I've got him in the
Yeah,
defensive position. I think he is a defensive
100%.
minded player. He does it for Palace on his own. There's no reason he can't do it for a team with better players around him. Shields the back line very well for Palace. Very good at recycling possession as well, and he's very good at disrupting opposition
Mm,
play. I really like him. Again, he's young, bit of inexperience there, but the as you said, Rice, I think in a more kind
100%.
of box to box anchor kind of role next to him gives him a little bit of kind of guidance there that someone he can look to. Um, obviously Rice, very experienced, good leadership, potential future captain of
100%.
England, alongside Gahey as well. I kind of had in that role a potential future captain, but Rice can do defensive
Yes.
cover if need be, and the reason I note that is because part of what Adam Wharton does is when he's just playing day to day is he covers other roles. That is where Trent comes in. He would cover if need be on attack the kind of right back position whilst Trent's overlapping or getting forward, and then Rice could kind of sit a bit more deep whilst you're in that transition. But
Okay.
yeah, obviously, just in terms of talent, very, very strong and probably second best midfielder we've got behind Mike Ham, Jude Bellingham. Maybe Cole Palmer could have gone here as well. That was someone.
Mm,
I really struggled to fit Palmer in.
I,
Bit of a spoiler
okay,
alert,
do
but
you know what?
I just
I'm changing. I'm changing my list.
he's
Yeah,
vetoing it.
Bellingham's getting on the bench, mate. Enjoy your little seat.
Oh
Cole Palmer's going on.
no, that is
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Oh,
100%.
that is
Yeah, Bellingham, mate. You better get your
Jesus
comfies on, pal, because you're going on the bench. Yeah, man.
Christ. That I think that's a
Yeah, no,
bold
I'm
move.
backing it. Palmer, I think he. Yeah, I don't even need to say anything back. You just sort of, yeah, you triggered it in my brain. I was going to try and be really sensible and go, oh well, I've got to put Bellingham in. Blah, blah, blah. No,
That's
I'll
bold.
tell you what's even more
Very
bold.
bold.
You ready for this?
Go on.
So, when we started this podcast, I said I was going to be. I have some of the most controversial opinions, right? Jude
Yeah.
Bellingham's overrated.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a good episode. Jeez, no.
He's a mate. Yeah, no,
Absolutely
yeah,
not.
he is. Yeah, 100%.
No.
Because
Why though?
everyone acts like he's this.
No.
Like, don't get me wrong, he's good. He is very good player. He plays for Real Madrid last season. He can, you couldn't get him out of the team, right? But the problem is I don't know. I genuinely, and this is just a point across a lot of English players. People did it with Phil Foden for the longest time. I've got my own opinions on him, but people just look at English players and act like they are perfect. They can't do anything wrong. They're just star boys, every single one of them. And it just, to me, the term world class gets thrown around way too quickly. And I think because and to me, he's not world class, but that's another conversation for another day. Because my definition of world class is different, right? You would agree, right, that the term world class gets thrown around all over the gaff.
I think so, but not. I think Jude is world
Not yet.
class. I think he's one of the best
Not
cams
yet.
in world football at
Not
a young
yet.
age.
If he can keep the longevity,
So,
right? If he can keep doing what he's doing with Madrid for the next 5 years or so, obviously it's just a random number off the top of my head, then I'll change my opinion. I just don't think he don't get me wrong, I'd take him at City any day. You would. Anyone would take him at any team. I don't think he's as good as everyone says he is.
God.
I really don't.
That's something. I think if you were going to name like one or two players in the England squad that are world class, I think him and
the
Kane
problem
are
is
the two.
as well is especially with Southgate and especially he was scared to drop the big players, and I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's worth always that for me. Like I think just dropping him and trying something different with Palmer is worth the try, right? Because obviously, what was it? The late minute. Who was the last minute goal against that got us through to the? Who was that against? Slovenia. That was it.
The overhead kick.
Like don't get me wrong, and I'm not sitting here saying that he's a bad player. I just feel like Southgate was scared to drop the big players, and I just don't think that he's as good as everyone says he is.
That's brave. That is brave. I think he's the sort of player, and that's why I've got him in Cam, just because I think he can do a bit of everything, and he's the sort of player like we saw against Slovenia, and we've seen it in other games as well, that when the team are playing terribly, he can make things happen on his own without anybody else. And he can just these little moments, and it picks the whole team. He's got an ability to just pick everybody up. And that's something that I think England kind of lacks. You've got a couple of players like Pickford's good at doing it, but I don't think there's many others. And he does have that ability and has that ability just to make magic of absolutely nothing that I think
And
nobody else
I
has.
think we're very guilty as supporters of putting far too much pressure on players that makes them
Oh, of
potentially,
course, England are particularly
you
bad
know,
for that.
and like I say, I'm not sitting here and saying he's a bad player at all, because he's obviously not. Like, he's fantastic, but you know, I just, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he's in the squad, obviously, but if I was to say, this is the problem I have with England, is that you need your, again, it depends on the formation, doesn't it? You got your DM, right? So Wharton, you're not going to play
Yeah.
Bellingham there. You got your Rice has got to come in, because for what's
Oh yeah.
needed in that position, Rice is better than Bellingham. I mean, you could swap them, but I feel like putting Rice
Yeah.
on the bench is worse
I
than
think you
putting Bellingham
need.
on the
If it
bench.
was me, I think you need both.
I think you could do a job, and that's why I think, because I think Cole Palmer as a player can do what Bellingham does, and it's not Bellingham's fault, but I feel like Bellingham can be dropped, whereas Rice and potentially even Wharton now, because I mean, who else are you going to play as a DM? Can't. So that's the problem. And I mean, England, I think we can all agree, is England has like a multitude of different talents and amazing players, and trying to get them all in the squad, someone's got to be unhappy. You know,
Yeah, I think in terms of like Wharton and that being undroppable because of the position they play in, I think Elliot Anderson can
do you
do that
think
role
what
as well.
as
Yeah,
a DM?
if he had to, yeah.
Okay, fair.
I think again, I'll lead back again. England, the type of team and the teams we play, and for 90% of our games we'll play, I think you could probably get away with it just because the player quality should be
Yeah,
there.
okay.
But yeah, maybe against like the bigger teams, you might struggle with someone like Anderson
He'll
there.
just play
But
Dean Henderson instead. Not Dean Henderson, fucking Jordan
Dean Henderson as a
Henderson. Sorry.
CDM, yeah, Jordan Henderson. Like I know it's a weird shout, but he is an experienced head
Yeah,
that can play
100%.
there.
Yeah,
Like so, I don't think it's a bad shout. But yeah, for me, Bellingham, no one's. I'm not gonna say undroppable because no player is undroppable. If I was a football manager,
I'd be
and
throwing my weight about all day. Best believe.
yeah, like it's one of these. I'm very kind of not iron fisty, but I'm very like if I was managing prime Messi and he had two bad games straight, I would
Yeah.
drop him. And I know that's
Well,
absolutely outrageous, but like
I
I would, just because
I
that's just who
genuinely
I
don't
am.
believe that's outrageous. I think if a player's not playing to a standard, a name shouldn't be enough to carry him.
Yeah, no,
Performances need
exactly.
to be
So
there. Otherwise, you're basic, and that's why England have fallen short quite a few times, because Southgate used to pick off name rather than performances, and
yeah, there were
you know
times like Kane was never dropped, no
no,
matter
and
what,
he'd
and
play
things like
players that
that.
weren't fit just because they are who they are, and you're like, well,
Yeah,
that's just not going to win you a title. It's just not.
yeah. Yeah, but well, meanwhile, yeah, like I think Palmer, 100%, you can get him in. I just think Bellingham is quality wise slightly better player, but yeah, that's sort of where we're at. But yeah, Palmer's an absolutely fair shout as well,
Yeah,
and 100% will be in the squad.
you've got him on the right, and
Could go. No, I don't
oh,
have him
okay.
in. He's a bench player for
Yeah.
me. Right wing. He could play
I've just
right though.
realised that was a
Hundred
stupid
percent.
statement,
If
because I just realised who we both got right. Let's be honest.
it's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
Saka, surely. Yeah. So obviously, I talked about him a lot in the last episode, talking about Arsenal's best player. So I'm not going to go into huge amount
mm.
of depth, but explosive, goal scoring winger, has defensive work rate as well.
Steps up.
Again, in terms of quality,
Even though the penalties didn't go
yeah,
his way, he steps up, takes a penalty, and that takes guts.
yeah. He will go and do the
Yeah,
things that other players might not want to do. You can put him in other positions as well. If I know it's
he's played at wing
madness,
back.
but like you
Yeah,
can. Yeah, he did at the
Yeah,
last Euro
it's
when he had
nuts.
to, and it
Don't,
actually worked
but
quite well. Yeah, no, but he's the best right winger
yeah,
we've got, I
100%.
think. I would, but again, you like I said with Cam, you could put Palmer here, and I don't think anyone would be too
Mhm.
unhappy about it. Um, if you really wanted to and have both, you could put Palmer right and Saka right wing back, but I don't know. That might be a little bit too
Yeah.
weird, bit too kind of weighted to offense. But yeah, you've got that option. Who have you got for left wing?
Uh,
Interestingly, because I think mine would be quite niche.
um, I don't know why, but correct me if I'm. Left is always seems to be a real hard position. Just on the left, anywhere on the left. Just for me, always see I struggle. Just with every team. I don't know why.
I had three names for left wing that could
Gee,
have gone in, and in the end, I went with the one.
uh,
But looking at the names compared to some of the others, yeah, they're not. None of them are like world
the only
class
two I can
players.
think of really that you could is you could put Rashford out there,
Hmm.
or Eze.
Okay, there's one you're
What
missing.
I'm missing?
Yeah, he's a native left wing
Oh,
as well. He's who I've got actually.
oh, I have not. Oh, Anthony Gordon.
I am just going to quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, no. Oh, do you know what? That's really bad of me. I forgot about him. Yeah, it'll be Anthony Gordon for me as well. It's stupid that we didn't use him in the last tournament. We needed something direct
Yeah, not
and
near enough.
attacking,
No,
and he just doesn't bother bringing him on.
no. Who did we even play?
Um, cool.
We weren't
No, it weren't
Rashford.
Rashford.
Didn't even go, did
No, he
he?
wasn't in the squad. I have
Um,
no idea who he played, but we were.
wasn't
We were.
Eze?
Eze wasn't
Eze
even in the
hadn't.
squad. I don't think.
No.
We were crying out.
Was it like Foden?
Oh, it
Maybe.
might have been. That might have been the tournament where they tried to get Foden, Palmer, and Bellingham all in the same team.
Yeah, they had like a million players up front that they tried
Yeah,
getting in and it
yeah.
didn't
You need
work.
balance. But this is what I said earlier. We've got all these amazing, talented players. You just can't get them all in. You just.
I mean, potentially, I don't know if he can play left wing as such with
I did
Madueke.
think about Madueke because he has had a really really good season up until unfortunately got injured. Um,
Yeah,
he was a good cover for Saka, and there was even potential that Saka might have not have got straight back into the Arsenal squad because he was playing really really well. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
hundred
got to be
percent.
Gordon, right? Just direct,
Yeah,
incredibly explosive. Just if he can figure out his end product, will be. I think he's a sort of bolt on for.
yeah. I think he's mine. He's dynamic, fast. He's
Yeah.
unpredictable to play against. And he also works
Yes.
really well. Something I've noticed in games, he works really well with Saka and Bellingham to
Hmm.
stretch. They often play in a kind of like a big triangle, and it stretches opposition, which then creates a lot of space for
Hmm.
Kane. It's something as a trio that they do very well. And I like him. I think he's a good player. There are arguments as a Rashford, maybe even a Foden if he can play there.
More on the
Um,
right. I
I mean,
wouldn't.
you've got yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. I think our wing situation is quite right
Yeah.
weighted. You've got a lot of really solid players that can play right, and I think left. Don't get me wrong, Gordon, Rashford, and Eze aren't bad players, but they're
No,
not the
not same
same
caliber as.
type of quality as the
Absolutely
other
not.
three. No.
Absolutely.
So for me, Gordon, and then striker, I'm going to
Yeah,
presume we
Dominic
have the
Solanke.
same. Yeah, oh really? I said Morgan Gibbs White, but
Ivan Toney. No, what do you mean?
Ivan
Nah, do you know
Tony
what?
back
We'll put
from where's he?
Emil
Saudi.
Heskey in as striker.
Emil Heskey. I will go Marlon Harewood
um,
as
I can't
my
think of anyone
striker.
else.
Yeah, no, I presume. I presume we
Yeah,
both have Kane
yeah.
here, surely.
He's
Yeah, okay. I
um,
think England's
by
best
far.
player, I think.
Yeah,
And leader, he's a captain of the team, which I don't like attackers as captains, but I would not
no,
change. I would keep Kane as a captain. He did it for Tottenham. I don't think he does it for Bayern, but he is a leader. He's something he's good at. Obviously, focal point of the attack. Very, very clinical finisher. Good hold up play, and he has actually got a bit of a pass
well,
on him
yeah.
as
I mean,
well.
you see
So
a lot of times he drops deep. Plays sometimes even as a number
yeah,
10. So I mean, that's the only criticism I'll give of his game, because the problem is sometimes when he drops deep, there's no one there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Harry Kane. There's not really any.
Yeah, I think that weakness of his game doesn't
No,
make up for the quality gap he has
absolutely
over
not.
any
Yeah,
other striker we have. I think it's still. I think you just
yeah,
have to.
definitely.
There are some other good options. So I think like obviously there are a few positions we disagreed on
Mm.
there, but for the most part, I think it's a pretty straightforward. Um, Kind of thing with some of these players, especially I mean O'Reilly was questionable, but maybe in a couple of years I could
Mm.
back it. And then dropping Bellingham was yeah something that upset me. But other than that, kind of bench players that I've got that were options that they could be there, but just I think there's potentially slightly better players. So Dean
Hmm.
Henderson. As your backup keeper, Reece James as a right back, Chalobah and Konza centre back, both I think absolutely solid as backups, but I think the two in the squad
Yeah,
are better. Lewis Hall as a left back,
yeah.
I put in as my backup. Young looks obviously he's kind of an attacking alternative to
Hmm.
Lewis Skelly, and then my midfield ones, obviously Palmer,
Yeah,
Morgan Rogers. I had in just because he's young. Yeah, well, not like a kid,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's youngish. How old is he? Like
Something like that.
24?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's young enough. He's a young player, looks promising. And then Elliot Anderson for a more defensive option. Um, Probably could do with another CDM potentially there, but couldn't really think of any. And I wasn't about to put like Ward Prowse or
Absolutely not.
Henderson. I don't want Jordan Henderson in the squad. Um, but you could. I wouldn't be too upset. And then forwards, Eze, Rashford, Watkins. Um, Bowen was one that I potentially put in, but I only wanted to put like one for
Hmm.
each position. So, and unfortunately, like Madueke, Foden, and someone else I just mentioned, Bowen, just
Yeah.
didn't make it. But Foden, again, Foden probably should be, but I couldn't really
I think
find
the
a
problem is
place.
he's just been inconsistent lately,
Yeah,
and just hasn't really shown in an England shirt that he's up to the task. And don't get me wrong, I love Phil Foden, so it hurts to say that, but it's true.
yeah, yeah. He just didn't come to mind. Whereas Eze, obviously doing well, has for the last 3 or so seasons now. He's been really solid. Rashford's kind of found a bit of a new lease of life at
Yeah,
Barcelona, and Watkins, I think, is just the second best striker we've got behind Kane.
yeah.
So
Oh, I don't know
yeah,
yet.
cool. So that's obviously my list anyway. Obviously, do let us know kind of yours if what you'd change or anything like that. Do you have any backups or anything you want to add?
No, I think, to be honest, my bench would be very, very similar to yours. I don't think. I Yeah, I can't really think of anyone that I would actually add to the bench. To be honest, I think it's you
Yeah,
look at that
fair
team on
enough.
paper and you think you should be winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's certainly the aim for kind of why I've done it is I think this would be give us kind of the best opportunity to potentially win something by playing more
Hmm.
aggressive football, something that England have lacked for a long, long time, possibly since 92,
Hmm.
96. Um, so yeah, that's essentially kind of my mindset behind it. But yeah, I think realistically, obviously, a bit of a shorter one this time around. Although we have been going almost an hour,
We
so
have, yeah.
it's
In fact,
yeah, bit of a shorter one for recent. But
yeah,
obviously, it's just one of them. I'm going away to Cagliari, so I'm not here. So we had to record two in
yeah,
a week to kind of keep on
absolutely.
schedule. But yeah, obviously if there's any that you guys want us to do, if you want us to do any other nations down the line, feel free to let us know and we'll incorporate them into a future episode. And also let us know if you massively disagree with us or agree with us. I highly doubt on that one, but yeah, we'll obviously see what happens going into like the tournament, and we'll go from there. Yeah, if you haven't got
Well,
anything to
no, that's
add,
it from me. Sounds good. Happy
cool,
days.
excellent. Well, thank you all for listening. All of our socials obviously are in the description as always below. Please check them out if you like. Give us a follow and let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about. But in the meantime, I will be in
Yeah.
Italy over the next week. I will post updates from the game I do out there, the Cagliari versus Bologna. So I will let you know what the ground's like and all of that when I'm back. But yeah, obviously, thanks for listening, and yeah, we'll
Good
catch you later.
stuff. Adios.
Adios.